by the slightest margin of chance, literally the failure of two wires to cross, a nuclear explosion was averted.
That's Robert McNamara, the man who ran the Vietnam War. He wasn't talking about Moscow, he was talking about North Carolina, the night a U.S. Air Force B-52 came apart over Wayne County and dropped 2 hydrogen bombs on American soil. One began its arming sequence. Every interlock defeated, every fail-safe bypassed, except one. A single switch, running on 28 volts, the same power as your car's headlights. That's what separated 28,000 Americans from instant death, and millions more from radiation poisoning. Your parents, your grandparents, maybe you. All alive because one spring-loaded switch worth $12 didn't get a random surge of electricity. Public statements in 1961 emphasized the bombs were unarmed. Declassified documents tell a different story. And the bomb they couldn't recover, to this day, it's still there, 180 feet under a cornfield, waiting. Let me explain how close we came to erasing the eastern seaboard. Nuclear weapons have what engineers call a chain of interlocks. Multiple barriers between cold steel and thermonuclear fire. The first interlock, the aircraft itself. As long as the bomber stays intact, the bombs stay dormant. Simple, until it isn't. January 24th, 1961, 12:30 a.m. Keep 19, a B-52G Stratofortress, tail number 58-0187, Major Walter Tulloch commands, 8 souls aboard. In the bomb bay, 2 Mark 39 Mod 2 hydrogen bombs, 3.8 megatons each. That's 500 Hiroshimas combined. Enough to erase every city from D.C. to Boston. They're running Chrome Dome, the most insane military operation ever conceived. Keep nuclear-armed bombers airborne 24/7. Why? Because you can't destroy what's already flying. The logic was perfect. The execution wasn't. Midnight. A KC-135 refueling tanker spots it first. Fuel, not leaking. Hemorrhaging from Keep 19's right wing. 37,000 pounds in 3 minutes. The B-52G has a fatal design flaw. Integral fuel tanks. The wing is the tank. When it ruptures, at 10,000 feet above Faro, North Carolina, the right wing tears off. Interlock 1. Failed. Technical Sergeant Francis Barnish is trapped in the tail section. The G-forces pin him down. 5 times gravity. Try to imagine that. Your body weighs half a ton. Your bones are creaking. Above him, in the bomb bay, 2 nuclear weapons feel the aircraft dying. Each bomb has safing pins, physical metal pins that prevent the arming sequence. They're attached to the aircraft by lanyards, like ripcords. When a crew deliberately releases a bomb, the lanyards pull the pins, but the plane is disintegrating at 9,000 feet. The lanyards pull tight, the pins come free. This isn't supposed to happen accidentally, but the bombs don't know it's an accident. They think they're going to war. Interlock 2. Failed. Lieutenant Adam Maddox fights the G-forces. No ejection seat in his position, just an overhead hatch. He pulls the manual release, gets sucked into the darkness at 9,000 feet. Below him, Weapon 1 begins its sequence. The Bish generator starts spinning. Picture a pinwheel from hell that powers itself as it falls. This tiny turbine converts the bomb's fall into electrical power. No batteries needed. The weapon powers itself. Ingenious engineering, terrifying reality. The generator spins up. Electricity flows through circuits that should stay dead. Interlock 3. Failed. Wait. Before I tell you what happens next, Billy Reeves, 17 years old, high school senior in Faro, North Carolina. His bedroom faces south towards Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. The sky turns red, not sunrise red, hell red. His mother drops to her knees in the hallway, starts praying. She thinks it's the book of Revelations, the end times. She wasn't entirely wrong. Above them, 2 hydrogen bombs are falling through the darkness, and one of them is counting down. The barometric switches measure air pressure. They detect altitude. 16,000 feet. First switch closes. 10,000 feet. Second switch. 5,000 feet. Third, the weapon is confirming its descent, cross-checking its position, preparing to detonate at the programmed altitude. These switches are supposed to prevent ground-level accidents, but falling from a disintegrating bomber looks exactly like a combat drop to these sensors. Interlock 4. Failed. If you're still watching, You're learning what 99% of Americans never knew. The most terrifying part isn't what happened, it's what's about to happen. First Lieutenant Jack Revell is asleep in officers' quarters at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio, 25 years old. Explosive ordnance disposal. In 4 hours, he'll get a phone call that changes his life. But right now, he's dreaming. While Weapon 1 continues its countdown, the thermal batteries activate. Think of phone batteries that can't be turned off once they start. These batteries use a chemical reaction triggered by heat. Once initiated, they're unstoppable. Low voltage battery, online. High voltage battery, charging. They're building the electrical potential needed to trigger 92 explosive lenses simultaneously, the same technology that compressed plutonium over Nagasaki. Interlock 5, failed. Interlock 6, failed. Weapon 1's parachute deploys. This starts the timer, the final countdown to detonation. The timer runs its full sequence. Every tick, every relay. Perfect performance. At the prescribed altitude, it sends the signal, detonate. The X unit is charged, capacitors at full power, ready to send the precisely timed pulse that will compress the uranium core to critical mass. 6 interlocks have failed. Not failed as in broken, failed as in worked exactly as designed. The bomb has completed its arming sequence. It wants to explode. It's trying to explode, except there's one switch left, the ready/safe switch, a simple electrical switch, mechanical, spring-loaded, manufactured by Honeywell for about $12. It runs on 28 volts DC, the same power as your car's headlights. This switch is still in the safe position, but here's what the government didn't want you to know. During the violent breakup of Keep 19, electrical systems were shorting out everywhere. Cables snapping, circuits arcing, random voltages jumping between systems. What are the odds of a random short circuit producing exactly 28 volts? Parker F. Jones, Sandia National Laboratories, calculated those odds. His word, credible. One switch, 28 volts, $12 of 1961 technology. If that switch had received the wrong voltage, let me paint you the picture. Ground zero, Faro, North Carolina, population 60, everything within 1 mile, vaporized, 20 million degrees, hotter than the surface of the sun, 4 miles out. Total destruction. Every building flattened, 28,000 dead in the first second. 8 miles, third-degree burns. Your skin doesn't burn, it ignites. 17 miles, every window shatters, structural collapse. The mushroom cloud rises 40,000 feet. The fallout plume, radioactive death carried on the wind, reaches Washington, D.C. in 12 hours, Baltimore in 14, Philadelphia in 16, New York in 18. But that's not the worst part. It's January 1961, height of the Cold War. Soviet satellites detect the flash. Seismic stations register the shock. A mushroom cloud rises over America. Do the Soviets believe it's an accident? Or do they think America just nuked itself as cover for a first strike? Do they launch? We were one electrical surge away from finding out. If that switch had failed, Richmond wouldn't exist today. Baltimore would be a dead zone. D.C. would have been abandoned for decades. The entire eastern seaboard, ghost towns and cancer wards. But the switch held. This time, Weapon 2 hit the ground at 700 miles per hour. No parachute. It created a crater 200 feet wide, 35 feet deep. You could fit a house in the hole it left. Steam rising from the earth. In January, the ground was hot. Jack Revell arrives at dawn. His team, they call themselves the Terrible 10, starts digging. 8 days, rain, snow, freezing water flooding the hole. 50 feet down, Revell finds the uranium pit. He descends into the hole himself, like entering a mine shaft. Wooden planks, mud walls, water up to his knees. The pit, volleyball-sized sphere of uranium-235. He picks it up, holds it against his chest, climbs the ladder one-handed. For 15 minutes, Jack Revell embraces enough uranium to level a city. Just his uniform between him and the physics of fission. But here's what the government doesn't want you to know. The fusion stage, the part that turns kilotons into megatons, it's deeper, 180 feet down. The Air Force calculates they can't get it. Too deep, too dangerous, too public. They make a decision, stop digging, buy the land, create an easement. Some say they can't remove it, others say they won't. It's still there. Now let me tell you something that will blow your mind. That famous Parker Jones quote, "One simple dynamo technology, low voltage switch." It's true, but there's more. Weapon 2, the one that cratered, its ARM/SAFE indicator showed ARM when they recovered it. The government initially thought both bombs had armed. But here's the crucial detail they don't advertise. The indicator showed ARM due to impact damage, but the internal firing contacts never closed. The circuit was never completed. One bomb armed perfectly and was stopped by a single switch. The other was damaged beyond function. We got lucky. Twice. 3 airmen died that night while America almost died. Major Eugene Shelton ejected successfully. Parachute worked, but in the darkness, he hit trees at full speed, tangled, dead. Technical Sergeant Francis Barnish, crushed in the tail section. Staff Sergeant Ronald Seagraves never found his body, just his ejection seat. Their families were told, training accident. Lieutenant Adam Maddox, the one who bailed out the top hatch without an ejection seat, he survived. Showed up at Seymour Johnson's gate. No ID, torn uniform. Guards arrested him for stealing government property. His parachute. Jack Revell couldn't talk about Goldsboro for 50 years. Classified. Later, he developed pre-leukemia. The man who saved millions died from the radiation he absorbed that day. His widow Brenda said, "Jack was a true believer. He believed in America, and he believed in his promises." The incident changed everything. Chrome Dome continued until 1968, but with new procedures. Nuclear weapon design was revolutionized. Enhanced nuclear detonation safety was mandated. Insensitive high explosives replaced conventional triggers. But they spent $5 billion on Chrome Dome and trusted a $12 switch. Today, the land in Faro is still under easement. No digging below 5 feet, ever. Regular monitoring shows no contamination, but 180 feet down, part of a hydrogen bomb waits. Public statements in 1961 said 2 unarmed nuclear devices were recovered. No danger to the population. It took 52 years for the truth to emerge. Eric Schlosser's Freedom of Information request finally freed the Parker Jones memo in 2013. The real story was classified higher than top secret, because it proved something terrifying. We've built devices that can end civilization, and we've convinced ourselves we can control them. Goldsboro proved that 6 out of 7 interlocks can fail in seconds. That one switch, a piece of 1950s technology, saved the American East Coast from nuclear annihilation. Right now, in 2025, there are still 400 nuclear weapons on hair trigger alert. Different technology, better safeties, more redundancies. Same problem. We got lucky in 1961, and luck, as any physicist will tell you, eventually runs out. Somewhere in North Carolina, 180 feet down, there's still part of that bomb. A monument to the illusion of control. Should we dig it up? Or leave it there as a reminder? Let me know what you think in the comments. You've been watching Unveiled Ops, where America's darkest secrets come to light. Next episode, Operation Northwoods, when the Pentagon planned to terror bomb Miami and blame Cuba. The documents are real. The truth is worse. Subscribe now, because the next switch might not hold.